ever stand in a shop kind of bewildered by the choices while getting your badminton racket restrung? I mean, you choose your tension, maybe brand name you recognize, but other than that, it's a bit of a mystery, right?
It's funny you should say that, actually.
Yeah.
Most people don't realize how much specialized knowledge goes into being a professional racket stringer. We're talking way beyond just threading strings through holes.
Which is exactly why we're diving into this staff racket stringing and certification program today. I managed to snag a copy of their training materials, and let me tell you, this stuff goes deep. It's like the difference between, say, microwaving a frozen dinner and crafting a gourmet meal. Both involve food, but the level of skill and understanding is on completely different planets.
I love that analogy. And you're right, this program covers it all. We're talking racket technology, string properties, how tension impacts your game, different stringing techniques, and a whole lot more.
Okay, so racket technology sounds intense. It makes me think more of physics equations than what I'm used to seeing at the sports store. Break it down for me. What's the big deal with the racket itself?
Think about it this way. The materials used in your racket's frame, its shape, how the weight is distributed, all of that impacts how the strings behave and how the racket performs overall. A good stringer needs to understand those factors to choose the right strings and get you the tension you need.
So it's not just about matching, say, a powerful string to my smash. It's about matching the string to my racket itself.
Precisely. It's about creating synergy between all the components for you to have optimal performance on the court.
Man, I never realized it was this complex. I was also curious about something else I saw in these training materials, string gauge and material. What's the deal with those? I always thought a string was just a string.
Oh, there's a world of difference there. Imagine this, you have a thinner gauge string.
Yeah.
It'll generally give you more feel and control, but it might not be as durable. Then you have thicker gauge strings, they're more robust, can handle those powerful smashes, but you might sacrifice a bit of touch and feel. It all comes down to a player's preference and what kind of game they're playing.
Okay, so if I'm known for delicate drop shots, maybe a thinner gauge is my friend. But if I'm all about those power shots, I'll want something that can handle the force.
You got it. It's like choosing between like a rapier and a broadsword. Both are swords, but for totally different fighting styles.
Love that comparison. And speaking of different approaches, this training program also digs into something called hybrid setups. What exactly does that mean?
A hybrid setup is where you use different string types for the main and cross sections of your racket.
Wait, so instead of the same string for the whole thing, you can mix and match. Is that for even more fine-tuning?
You bet. For instance, let's say you love a durable string for those powerful main strings, the ones taking the brunt of the impact, but you want more feel for your drop shots. You could use a more responsive string for the cross strings to up your touch and control game. It's about truly customizing the setup to how you play.
That's wild. It's like racket stringing has its own secret language with all these techniques and terms most people wouldn't even know to ask about.
Exactly right. And that's what makes this training so crucial. It equips stringers with the knowledge to decode that language and translate it into a racket that's not just good, but perfect for the player.
Okay, so say I walk into a shop with my racket, feeling a little overwhelmed by all of this. How do I even begin to explain what I need if I don't speak, well, stringer?
That's where the customer service part of the training comes in. A truly well-trained stringer isn't just going through the motions, they're like racket consultants.
Yeah.
They'll ask about your playing style, what you're good at, what you struggle with, what you want to achieve on the court. It's like having a coach for your racket.
So instead of just mumbling, can I get this restrung? I should be ready to have a full-on conversation about my game.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to get into the specifics of your game. Talk about your go-to smash, that tricky drop shot you're working on, or how you wish you had more control on your clears. The more info you give them, the better they can create the perfect stringing setup just for you.
This is starting to sound less like an errand and more like going to a tailor for a bespoke suit. You're not just getting something off a rack, you're getting something crafted specifically for your body and style.
Now, that's a fantastic analogy. And you know what? Just like a well-tailored suit can boost your confidence and performance, so can a perfectly strung racket. You'll step on the court feeling like you have a secret weapon.
It really is incredible how something so seemingly simple like restringing a racket can be so intricate. But with all the advancements in technology, why is this hands-on skill still so important? Couldn't a machine do it? You know, it's like, it's like the difference between a music streaming service and a live concert. Both deliver music, but that human touch, that energy you get from a live performance,
Yeah.
that's something special, yeah.
Absolutely. And when it comes to racket stringing, that human touch translates to those nuanced adjustments, the ability to adapt to the unique characteristics of each racket, and the understanding of how different elements will work together to create the perfect setup for a player.
And speaking of understanding, this training program doesn't just stop at the technical skills. It also emphasizes the importance of clear communication with customers. Why is that such a big deal?
Think about it. You walk into a shop. Maybe you've heard some of what we've talked about today. Maybe you're completely clueless. A skilled stringer can guide you through the options, explain the technical stuff in a way that makes sense, and help you make informed decisions about your racket. It takes the intimidation factor out of the equation.
So it's not just about being a master stringer, it's about being a racket guru who can share their wisdom and empower players to make the best choices for their game.
You got it. It builds trust, ensures that players feel heard and understood, and ultimately makes the whole experience more enjoyable. You're not just handing over your racket, you're collaborating on a setup that's going to elevate your game.
So to sum it all up for our listeners out there, the next time your racket needs some love, remember what we've uncovered today. Don't be afraid to tap into that stringer's expertise. Talk about your game, ask questions, and be an active participant in the process.
You might be surprised how much of a difference a well-strung racket can make on the court. It's like having a secret advantage, fine-tuned just for you.
And you know what? It might even spark a newfound appreciation for the artistry and skill that goes into this often overlooked aspect of badminton.
We only scratched the surface of the racket stringing world today, but it really makes you think.
It does. What other hidden depths and specialized skills exist in those everyday services and products we take for granted? It's a good reminder to appreciate the craftsmanship and expertise all around us.
Well said.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the fascinating world of racket stringing. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.
We're the best.